Hello everyone and welcome back to the Great Book of Grudges. My name is Nathan and we're back with another Total War Warhammer faction focus video. Today we'll be speculating whether the mysterious nation of Nippon may or may not become a DLC faction for Total War Warhammer 3. So without further ado, let's begin. Just a quick note before we actually begin, we will obviously be covering possible units, legendary lords and magic. It's important to note that there is not a lot of official art, so we will be using a lot of fan art or stuff taken from history directly, as we know Warhammer Fantasy lore and stuff like that has actually taken a lot from real world history. And as I stated during the cafe video, it's more than likely that I will butcher any special names here, so I do apologize right before that. However, let's not waste any more time, shall we? It is important to note that unfortunately, as far as I'm aware, the last time Nippon had any sort of stats and so on was around Warhammer Fantasy 3rd edition. So yes, this is going way back and they didn't really have a lot of units, they were more considered as allied mercenary contingents. First we look towards the basic core unit, which is the Ashigaru. They are highly trained peasant warriors that serve under the samurai directly. There's nothing special about them considering that they're pretty much just peasants, however they do have a variety of weaponry, those being spears, longbows and arquebuses. An arquebus being an actual black powder weapon which is normally held up by a stick or, well, pretty much a stand. I'm not very much into my history, but I'm assuming this is to keep focus onto the target and be able to be hitting your enemies in a much better accuracy rate. So there's not really much here. They might be using swords too, as to add in an extra type of unit variety. It is more than likely that we'll see a horse variant of these units too, as to add in some actual faction diversity within the troops. But that being said, we do have an elite unit which is actually featured in this book, which is the samurai. Yes, Games Workshop weren't very original back in the day, and we can't blame them, it was a different time. However, the samurai can vary greatly from being light armor to heavy armor units. They have double-handed weapons, which is most likely a very large double-bladed weapon, and obviously a longbow. So these units can serve as different purposes, anti-unit, they could serve as long range too. It really depends on how it could be worked into Total War. It is known that in Nippon there's also monk warriors similar to those in Cathay, but instead of fighting with weaponry, they fight with their bare hands. This is some very obscure lore which pretty much is debatable at this point. However, given the fact that a lot of these armies' history is actually stolen from real history, it is speculated that this could be somewhat true. Once again, similar to its neighbours, they also use the temple dogs, but it's unknown if they also use terracotta warriors. However, given the fact that they're two different cultures, it wouldn't make sense to have the terracotta warriors themselves in both factions. They would just be carbon copies of each other with just very minimum actual differences. One thing can be stated though, it is known that the people of Nippon do enjoy the use of black powder weaponry, so it's very likely that we'll see very similar troops to Outriders where they'll be riding fast cavalry and also shooting, and more than likely see many variants of cannons and stuff like the Hellblaster volley gun for example to be able to actually provide heavy weaponry. That being said, now we move towards the lords and hero choices, with the first one being the ninja assassins, who can use a variety of weapons. They'll be masters of stealth obviously, but they'll also be able to use additional hand weapons, double-handed weapons, flails, grenades, and even throwing stars. It's more than likely that these will also be a certain type of caster too, using some sort of variant of the lore of stealth, considering that Clan Eshin pretty much learned how to be ninja rats by watching the Nipponese. More than likely these would be lords and hero choices, but it's kind of possible that we'd also see groups of them too, very similar to the Eshin triads. Last but not least, we have the samurai lords themselves, which would have a variety of different options for weaponry and also for armaments too. They could use light armor or heavy armor, but also use a variety of weapons such as the flail, spear, longbow, muskets, double-handed weapons or additional hand weapons. In terms of mounts, they could also have horses which are heavily armoured, temple dogs themselves, or kirin, which is something that it was supposed to be mentioned in the cafe video but I forgot about. It's kind of like a water-based unicorn. In terms of legendary lords themselves, there's really once again not much to go through, however there is a few names that do pop up. The only issue here is we don't know where in the lore they actually were, so they could be dead at this point. An obvious choice would be their emperor, known as the Divine Sun. He is an immortal, or well, suspected immortal, who is immensely powerful, but most others mentioned in the lore are already long dead, or could be still alive with some changing of the timeline similar to how Reponse has worked. More than likely this would be a race with only 2 legendary lords, unless GW and Creative Assembly work together once again to create something special and knock out some new legendary lords out of the blue. With that we look towards the magic now, which I believe they would have access access to 2 laws of magic. The first one would be the law of stealth itself, but changed around a bit obviously, so not to look so Skaven-y, but more human-like. And next, the law of Tzeentch, given the fact that the Nipponese themselves did worship Tzeentch in one way, shape or form. Obviously the spells themselves would be changed around to look a bit more human, so yes, they would be reskins. Maybe they would have some sort of new law of magic, but it's more than likely they would actually have these too, given the fact on how their culture and how their law works. But as I've said before, there's not really much to go through. However, it would be cool to see some sort of human ninja-like faction in the game. What are your thoughts on Nippon as a playable faction? Do you think it would be possible? Do you think that they would not be possible? Have I left any potential units out? Let me know in the comments below and let's start a little bit of a discussion, shall we? But with that, my friends, we've come to the end of our video. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, might I suggest giving the video a like, or even subscribing to the channel, as it really does help us out. In the description link below is a bunch of our social media links such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and Discord, where you can get in contact with the Great Book team and chat with us. Also in the description link below is an affiliate link with Element Games, where you can get loads of hobby stuff, not just Warhammer, for 10 to 25% off. It also supports the channel at no extra cost to you, which we think is rather cool. A big thank you to our patrons. Your support means the world to us. Honestly, it's super cool that you guys want to help out a small channel like us grow and actually try and get the content to the level that we want it to be for you guys. But with that, my friends, thank you for watching once again. I shall see you all again very, very soon. Have a good day.